Hey everyone, my name is Yoshi and welcome to a little tutorial that a lot of people have asked me to make. Basically it's on how I get, if I go ahead and open this real quick, I'm going to show you guys how to do all of this. But basically it's to show how I get these bars in the now playing thing on my stream. So if I go ahead and play a song here, I'm going to go ahead and play this one. It's to show how I get these bars and how I get the now playing in here, because I had a lot of questions by people asking me to do that, and so I figured I would make a little video to show how to do that. So first things first, you're gonna need a few things. Obviously, you are going to need Foobar2000, which is the music player, this one right here. Just go ahead and go to the You'll start on the overview tab. Go to the download tab and download Foobar version 1.3.8. As you can see, I have 1.3.5. That's just because it was the version that was out when I downloaded it, and I don't really feel the need to update it because it's just been like super minor updates that don't really do much of anything. So that is the version that you're going to want to download. Just go ahead and click on this, and it will bring up this little pop-up that'll say, do you want to download this exe? Go ahead and save the file, install it, and when you're done, you should have Foobar2000 on your computer. Next thing you're going to want is Foo Musical Spectrum. It is a component for Foobar. I just bumped the mic. It is a component for Foobar. Go ahead and just click on foomusicalspectrum.zip. Same thing, just save the file wherever. I will tell you where to extract this and the next component in a second. So go ahead and download that, save it to wherever you want. I'm going to go ahead and cancel it because, again, I already have it. And the next thing you're going to want is the Foobar Now Playing Simple component. Go ahead and click download right here. Same thing, it'll prompt you to download an archive. Go ahead and save that, and again, I will show you actually right now where to click and drag that. So gonna want to save it to here. Typically, I save my stuff in downloads. So where you're gonna want to go with it, just go ahead and right-click them, press extract to, and then find this internal program files, or if you have a 64-bit system, program files x86, because that's where it's going to install Foobar. Go down to Foobar2000, and in the components folder is where you're going to want to drag the two components. They're going to be application extensions, .dll files, and don't worry about all these things that I have in here. Automatically, Foobar comes with all of these except for the musical spectrum and the now playing simple. So those are the two that you're going to want to drag in here. Those are the two that you just downloaded, and I just showed you where to drag them in. So go ahead and do that. And when you're done with that, go ahead and open Foobar. And when you open Foobar, all you're going to get is this. You're going to get a blank Foobar screen. It's going to be all white. There's going to be no music in it. To add music to it, just go to File, Add Folder. Find the folder of whatever music you want to add. As you can see, I can add a whole shit ton of music in here. But just a forewarning, when you're playing music on stream, your VODs might be muted if you play copywritten music, which is why I recommend finding smaller bands to play, or playing music that, either video game music or music that is in the, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's something that allows the music to pass through the copyright thing, where it won't mute your VOD. And so I'm going to play music by my good friend Popsky here. Showtime 2, highly recommended album. Highly recommend all of Popsky's music, because he's a great dude and his music is awesome. And so I'm going to go ahead and drag that in there. And as you can see, the entire album of Showtime 2 is now in Foobar. And so now we move on to getting the bars. The bars are the musical spectrum. So just go to View, Visualizations, Musical Spectrum, and by default, I don't have it as a default right now, but by default, it's going to look something like that. And this is what it's going to look like by default, and as you can see, if I go, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down because it's a little loud. If I go ahead and play music, you can see it's showing up, but it's in kind of a really sporadic type layout and everything, and you might want to change that, like I did. So to change this, go ahead and go to right click and press options, and you have a whole bunch of stuff you can change here. Like, you can turn off all of the labels so that there are no labels. You can turn off all the grid lines so there are no grid lines. You can turn off the bar spacing, which I don't really recommend doing. You can turn off the tooltips, and then you can turn off the quote-unquote keys, which are basically the different lines you see here, so that it's just all black background, which is what I recommend. I recommend going ahead and changing it to a solid color background for something we'll get into in a few minutes. My background is typically black, but you can use, I recommend using for this whatever color your bars are, which I'm going to go ahead and import my settings here, which to do that, to export settings, first of all, all you want to do is go to settings, export, and then it will export a .cfg file, which is a config file for Musical Spectrum, that you can go ahead and then go to settings, import, and find and import like I am doing right now. So I have mine saved right here, stream theme, and as you can see, all it is, the only thing that I really changed are the samples, which the samples are basically the rate at which the bars move up and down. So if I go ahead and play music with this now, go ahead and just play here, you can see they're a little bit more fluid than they originally were in the first preset, and that is because of the samples. And so if I go ahead and move my samples all the way up to 32,000, which is basically doubling what I typically have it at, and then go ahead and play music, you can see they move a lot more slowly, a lot more fluidly. However, that's not really what I prefer to have. I prefer to have them just like roughly in the middle here at 16,000. And then the range here, the notes, are basically how many bars you want. I have mine from a low A to a mid C. That's what I have mine at. And then the don't worry about the amplitude. That's basically just how high they go. Don't worry about that. Just leave that at default. And then leave the channels default as well. Leave all of the stuff at default except for samples if you want to change that, and the notes if you want to change that. Turn off all that stuff except for bar spacing. Change these to whatever colors you want. As you can see, I have mine all white and then a few gray at the bottom. That basically just makes a gradient at the towards the bottom of it that changes it to gray, which I like to have. And then my background is just black. You can change all of these settings to suit whatever stream, whatever you want for your stream. These are just the settings that I use. And then we're going to get into the last thing that I'm going to have you download, which is a little software by the name of Sizer by Brian Apps. And basically, this isn't 100% required, which is why I didn't show it at the beginning when I was showing all of the other downloads. However, it's super helpful to get the Musical Spectrum window to the perfect size that you want every single time for your stream, if you have to change it for whatever reason. So go ahead and download and install that. I recommend using the MSI installer, because that'll just install it right in your program files, rather than the zip file, which means you choose where to download it and install it. But it's just easier if you just install it in your program files and use the MSI. So that's what I recommend. That's what they recommend as well. So go ahead and do that. And then once you have that, go ahead and open it. And then you will get this little thingy doodad in your taskbar. Go ahead and right click that and go to Configure Sizer, and then press Add. And that'll add another 640 by 480 in the bottom. By default, all that's in there is 800 by 600, 1024 by 768, and 640 by 480. Go ahead and just add another one. Name it whatever you want. As you can see up here, I named mine Foobar Spectrum, and then adjust the width and the height as needed for your stream. I have already adjusted the width and the height for mine, 1637 by 471. And so just go ahead and press OK. And then open up Foobar. The way Sizer works is if you click on a window and then you right click on the Sizer icon, it will resize that particular window. So go ahead and click on Musical Spectrum, right click on Sizer, and make sure this says Resize Musical Spectrum to. This will say resize whatever window you have clicked on to make sure it says musical spectrum, and then click on your preset for the Foobar spectrum, and there you go. It will resize the window to exactly what you want. I use sizer for multiple things, like if I'm recording a window for a video, or if I need to make sure that window has a certain thing for stream, like this is, that's what I use it for. And so once you have that, that is what you're going to want for this. And then go ahead and open up OBS. And as you can see, I have my startup file here. I've made a little bit of a tutorial scene just to show you how to import all of this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and press preview stream. And as you can see, it just has, right now it has my background for starting stream. And then this part is a separate image, the bar here. And we'll get into why that exists a little bit later. But right now, we're focusing on the bars. So go ahead and add window capture. I'm not going to bother naming these things. They're already named in my actual sources. In my actual scene, rather. Make sure this says musical spectrum. Inner window. Do not capture mouse cursor. And there you go. That's all you're going to mess with for now. We're going to head back into here once we have it all resized and everything how we want it. But go ahead and press OK for now. And you will get this. Go ahead and move that to wherever you want. I generally like having it screen and then all the way at the bottom. That's how I have mine. And then layering, make sure it's below that. If you have one of these, that is. If you have a little bar that you're going to use for this can be used for showing what's currently playing. So if you have one of those bars and it's separate from your image, go ahead and put that under it. And there you go. If you're setting it up the way I am, that is. So, but now, as you can see over here, it was just bars. There was no blackness here. So, go ahead and head into the properties, use color key, and select whatever background color you chose. I believe I said this earlier. For background color, you're going to want to choose either a very high contrasting color to whatever your bar colors are. Like I use black background, white bars, or choose a color that is similar to the bar color, but not so similar that when you color key out the background, the bars will be color keyed out as well. And the reason I would have you do that is because high contrasting colors, when you color key them out, because they're at such high contrast with the color of your bars, there's not likely to be any bleeding of that color when you go ahead and have the bars there, because it's completely different color. And as for having a color that's similar to the bar color, but not to the point where the bars will be color keyed out, that is because if there is bleeding, it will somewhat match the bar color, and it won't be as noticeable. So those are my 2 tips for color keying. Really anything, but in this case, color keying out the background for your Foobar bars. So once you have that, go ahead and just play some free music with the spectrum on. And boom. There are bars. Look at that. Look at that. The bars. They're there. And they're beautiful. But that is not all that I'm going to show you in this tutorial. There is more to that. And obviously, if you want to, you can go ahead and adjust this so that there's absolutely nothing. So there you go. That is how I have mine, 100. And so, that's how the bars exist. However, we're not done yet, folks. There's still one other thing that I'm going to show you how to do, and that is having this now playing part. As you can see, nothing is currently playing, but if I go ahead and just play something, it says now playing, Popsky, Dragon's Fire. And people have asked me how to do that as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and show that right now as well. So that goes into the second component that I had you download at the beginning, which was Foo Simple. Which if you just go to, in Foobar, go to File Preferences. You should see in the Components tab up here, Foo Simple right here. If you installed in the correct place, which if you installed Musical Spectrum in the right place, this should be in the right place. And so, go to Tools, Now Playing Simple. And now, before you go into anything that's in here, go ahead and open Notepad. And make a new blank Notepad document and save that to wherever you want. As you can see, if I go ahead and go to save this, my Foobar Now Playing text document is just in Documents, Text Documents. Foobar Now Playing, you can name it whatever you want. You can save it wherever you want. Just make sure you know where it is. And then go ahead and close out of that. And then up here, in the file name, find that file. So as you can see, mine is Foobar Now Playing right there. That's what I have it saved as. And that's what I have it loaded as. And the reason you want it to be blank is because Foobar is going to be writing to this notepad document as you're doing stuff. So I'm going to put this in the description just in case you want it, because that'll basically have it say what it controls, what it writes to it. So if it is playing, it will say now playing artist title. If it's paused, it will say paused artist title. And if it's stopped, it will just say stopped. And if Foobar's not even open when you have this document open, it will just say not running. And so don't worry, this is going to be in the description, as well as all of the links here to download all this stuff. All of those will be in the description as well, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to make you like squint and try and read the URLs for stuff, or try and copy this down as I'm highlighting it and unhighlighting it and quickly going through it. So that'll be in the description. Don't worry, it's fine. And go ahead and press OK. And for the now playing stuff, that's all you got to do in Foobar. So now, go ahead and go to OBS, add text, and here, use text from file, browse for the file that you use. As you can see, I'm using Foobar Now Playing. And then go ahead and adjust your font size, your centering, all that stuff. I already have mine like ingrained in my head as to what I use, so I'll just go ahead and make it that real quick. I use that to make it italicized. Custom text extents 1280 by 50 because 1280 because my OBS source window is in 720p, 1280 by 720. Although I downscale it when I'm streaming to 480p just because accessibility, people don't buffer that and stuff like that. That's an entirely different video that I might make in the future. But just make that whatever the width of your OBS window is, and then that is my font size is 48, so I made that 50 to give it a little bit of wiggle room. And then wrap, turn off scroll mode, and align it center. That's what I do. And then press OK. And as you can see, that makes this appear. Go ahead and drag it down, or drag it over, or wherever, to where you want it to be. And there you go. It's there. It's right there. And then if I go ahead and play something in Foobar, boom. It's doing stuff. It's writing to it, it's everything. And then if you find when you do that and it's not completely centered because for whatever reason with the font that I use it does that, just go ahead and center that a bit more. And there we go. That is how you do the bars in Foobar, and that is how you do the now playing section in Foobar. So I hope this tutorial was super helpful to you. I hope you found some enjoyment out of it, and I hope it will help you do all this stuff. Obviously, it's gonna look different than mine because I have mine set up a certain way, and I make all my own graphics. Your graphics are obviously gonna look different, and where you have stuff is obviously gonna be different. So yeah, but that's the basic gist of it. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this little tutorial, I would appreciate it if you would leave a like, a comment, maybe even a favorite. If you really enjoyed this little tutorial, I would really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps me a lot, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys!